Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Barrie Real Estate TV, a weekly web series I'm doing in part with 705contracting.ca. I'm your host, Luke Guido, a real estate broker with the Knowles Woolsey team at Remax Home J, right here in the beautiful city of Barrie. We're here today in my personal backyard as we're still social distancing as part of the COVID-19 global pandemic. And it's important for all of us to do our part. And touching on that today is episode, I believe, number 22 of Barrie Real Estate TV. And we're going to be talking about the mortgage deferral program that has been brought out to help folks ease some of the burden that comes along with some layoffs and different things that have been happening in these difficult times. But they may not be for everyone, and they may not be exactly what you think. So stay tuned right after this. Alright guys, so we talked a bit about the mortgage deferral, and we've been seeing this all over the news. People are saying, they're not going to have to pay. Some banks have said 2 months, 3 months, up to 6 months for deferral of your mortgage payment. And that can be really good news for people who are in a really tight financial spot. But this isn't a free pass. It's not something that everyone's going to want to take advantage of, and we're going to dig into a little bit why. So first of all, this isn't free money. No one is being forgiven a mortgage payment. No one is being, having them pushed back without any kind of a penalty. What happens is when the bank defers a mortgage payment, you're pushing that back, whether it's 2 months, 3 months, or 4 months, the bank is still going to collect that money at some point. So most banks have pushed this to the end of the term. So let's say you've got 3 years left on your mortgage, you would then have 3 years and 6 months. That's not too big a deal. You're just kind of shuffling it back. You get some breathing room now. But the bank is going to still charge interest on that. So what happens is the principal amount of your mortgage payment, which in most people's cases is less than half of that payment, is deferred for you, but the interest that you would have paid on that, which could be $500-600 a month or more, is still being collected and added on to your principal. So what that means is, in 6 months when you start making mortgage payments again, those payments are going to be higher than they were before the deferral, because you now have to get caught up on those additional interest payments. They're going to factor that into your loan. Other smaller lenders, instead of collecting the compound interest on that, are actually insisting on a lump sum payment when you return to pay. So they'll give you, say, 2 month grace where you don't pay, but then you've got to pay all 2 months plus your third month before you can get back into your normal payments. That's a big nut for some people to crack. And again, most banks are not going to mandate that. They're going to give you that full deferral, but they're going to charge the compound interest on the money that you owe, which is definitely going to cost you more money in the long run. Again, if you've been laid off, if things are tight, if you don't have a few months worth of savings in the bank, I'm not saying don't take advantage of this program. That's what it's there for, and it will help you. I'm saying don't take it lightly. If you're able to make your payments, make your payments, because it's not free and it's going to cost you more in the end. We're talking more about this again with tenants. Tenants are, I've seen the going around saying we're going to no rent April and we're not going to pay because our landlords don't have to pay. That again is not accurate. Some landlords may qualify for a mortgage deferral, but not all of them. The banks are making people go through an approval process. If you don't have significant funds in the bank, and if you've been laid off, you may qualify. The landlord could be in the same situation, but for most investment properties, they don't qualify. And even if it's not an investment property, if you have significant savings or if you haven't been laid off, you're not just going to automatically be approved a deferral, and neither will your landlord. So you have to be paying your rent because the landlord also has bills to pay as well. And even if the landlord is granting you a deferral on your rent because they were able to secure one themselves or they have the financial means to do so and they're sympathetic to your personal financial situation right now, be aware that you are going to have to pay that back. Again, this isn't months where you don't pay. This is months where they're allowing you to push that rent back, partially because the province has said there'll be no evictions for the next little while, but also just because the landlord may be sympathetic to your plight and wants to help you, provide for your family. They're still not going to give it to you for free. They're going to expect you to make up those payments after the grace period is over. So if you want, a month or two free, then you're going to have to come up with 3 months rent. Can you afford that? A lot of people can't. Again, if your landlord is willing to work with you, and this is something you're going to need to do, hopefully they can give you an extra couple $100 a month instead of a double month until you get caught up on that, maybe over the next year. And some landlords are going to work with you on those programs. Some, unfortunately, won't. There's really nothing mandated to do that, and some of them can't. Not everyone has the money to be able to pay your rent for you. And some landlords are paycheck to paycheck, just like the rest of us. So these are just important things to factor in. If you are in a financial situation where you need the help, talk to your landlord, talk to your bank if you're an owner, but don't just take it upon yourself not to pay or to assume everything's just going to go away. You still need to take care of your finances, you need to take care of your family, and it's going to come back to bite you if you don't. So that's really important. All of us here, guys, at the Nose Woolsey team are doing our best to practice the social distancing. You may have heard that real estate was deemed an essential service. We are still available to help you for those who absolutely need to buy and sell right now. We do have people who have sold a home and it's closing and they need to buy something for a certain time, or they bought a home and they need to get theirs sold because they're not going to be able to afford to carry both. We're absolutely still listing properties and selling them right now, but we're being urged, obviously by common sense, but also by our provincial and federal associations, to do our best to limit in-person contact. So we're offering all kinds of services by video conference, virtual showings, virtual open houses. We're doing our best to only meet with clients if it is absolutely necessary, and we're taking the proper precautions to do so. We've seen in some of our condo listings, they're limiting people into the building. We're working on ways to do virtual showings with those as well. If you've got any questions about how any of this works, reach out to myself or any other member of the Nose Woolsey team. We're happy to talk about it. We've got lots of plans in place to make sure we can still do a smooth transaction during this time. And we just want to see you, our family, your family, and our community safe and prospering. So we're going to get through this together. Let's talk soon.